over a period of time, they're here for temporary protected status. Maybe some of them are refugees and they get permanent citizenship. They won't get that money either. So every single thing of that video, this video here, was completely wrong that you guys did. It was fascinating to me because I feel like you, at the very least, I believe that you care about the information you're putting out. And this was all wrong. And
so they're up there. So Sam, this is all a lie. These guys were up there just completely bullshitting with all the numbers. Where he's saying that people in the government are blowing the whistles. He didn't want.
As we have just established that if they went back to 2017, they would show the same numbers as 2024. That's funny.
I want to say their names.
Thank you for pointing that out.
He was giving them praise. And for Sam, for you to say that you care about the kids and the labor and all that stuff. We've had an open border for 4 years, and all the illegals,
I've known a lot of amphetamine enthusiasts in my time.
More than 10 million have come into this country. California, is that where you live?
No.
Where do you live?
I live in New York.
Okay, great, even better. California. So the amount of money that we spent
a bunch of libs
on illegals with housing and all that shit, and Gavin Newsom passing a law that you don't even need an ID to vote. You're saying that we're coming up with where these people aren't coming in for the votes? That's the main goal of this whole thing. What was the open border for? Why was the border open for 4 years? Answer me that question.
First of all, the border was not open.
Give me are you kidding me? Look at the. What do you mean the border was open? Hold on. Did you smoke before you came in here? That's ridiculous.
By the way, Vinny, here's the part, though.
You're full of it, bro.
Here's the part.
Get out of here.
Sam, here's the part.
He was calling Vinny down because he knew he was looking bad.
Hear this. Okay.
Anybody can look at that video. The things you were saying yesterday was a complete sack of lies or just misinformation.
Be honest with me.
Immigration year over year over year. Type in illegal.
Nobody's listening to you, dude.
Immigration.
I know that you're trying to control your podcast, but then again, I mean, hey, this is what you get when you get a video on your staff there.
Year over year.
The fact that you're saying
guy needs to ease off the steroids. Yeah. Oh my God, that does kind of track.
The border wasn't wide open. How many deaths?
Allegedly.
How many deaths have happened? How many fentanyl deaths have happened per year while your freaking president, Joe Biden, was in office? How many Americans died just from fentanyl? And you're saying the border wasn't wide open? We've had the most illegal entry in 4 years in the history of the country.
Dude.
This is why. Let me finish. And this is why your party sucks. This is why your party.
Very poignant. Like, you're making some just really, really chef's kiss points there, guy.
Is that 29% approval?
20%.
Because you got 20. Thank you. Because all you guys do is talk shit and just go anti-Trump. You have no policies. You guys have no vision. You have no leaders. You're talking about oligarchs and you hate the oligarchs. Where do you think Bernie Sanders and AOC are going to get their money from? Their donors. Are you don't lie to yourself. For you to look and by the way, you're talking about yesterday we lied.
AOC and Bernie Sanders don't take money.
Hold on, ready for this?
People.
You're saying that we lied 2 days ago. You just lied, and you're going to look like a fool that the border wasn't wide open. Look at this chart. What does that chart say to you? What is that? What did Trump, when Trump was in, he was trying to close it, but your party was fighting it. It's unbelievable how many illegals have come in the past 100 days.
But this is the part to just be just show the data. Illegal immigration, this is Wall Street Journal, is a bigger problem than ever.
Oh, no, that's
These
fake
five
news.
charts explain why. Go a little bit lower. That's under Biden.
Trump got shot trying to show these charts.
That's kind of funny that he's actually like trying to explain it, but you guys are just going to walk all over him and then just be like, explain this. And then once he explains it, it's just like, let's move on.
Literally.
This is October of 2023. Go to the next one.
A guy who was registered Republican.
Here's another one for you.
Can I address what his
let me just show the data, and then I want you to say what you want to say. Go a little bit lower with the data, Ron. No, because he said it's inaccurate. This is another one here showing
go back
data.
up. Go back up to the.
And then go to the last one, Rob. Go to the last one, Rob.
Go to the top one here.
I mean, this is the numbers you're talking about.
Charts.
So this is you.
Pause it.
Start one by one.
Pause it.
Go up.
Explain every one of them. Go for it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, you can see that this is what constitutes illegal immigration. These are, if it was an open border, you would not have these numbers. You would not have the numbers to know when Title 42 ends.
Yeah.
More people are coming to the border and they're being put into a system. Period.
That's the best part about it.
And that's the
because
definition.
They were told
Bloodstone, what up?
to come. Sam, let me.
They never cared about fentanyl until Trump tried to tie it to illegal immigrants. Plus, they never have a solution to the drug problem other than deportation. Never treatment policy. No, none of it.
When your president says, come to the country.
Shut the fuck up, Vinny.
You're gonna yell all the time.
No, I'm not yelling. You just give me
I'm not yelling. What do you mean I'm not yelling?
facts.
Can I turn down his microphone? Because
You can't. Yeah, just see which one he is. I think he's
Right.
seat 3 or which one is it, Rob?
Four.
Seat 3.
Seat 3.
Seat 3. Go ahead. Lower that
And
right
then,
there.
And then the mic.
Right there. There you
Volume,
go. Is
just
that
lower.
good? Is that good?
Seat
Seat
2.
2.
Vinny's emotional.
Okay, go for it.
All right.
Actually, yeah, he should. Vinny, you're getting very emotional. Oh, dude, he should do that.
Go ahead.
Good.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. So,
You're still going to hear the truth, though. So go ahead.
no, I'm happy to.
Yeah.
Can't turn down the truth. Is
No,
what
you
you're saying.
can't.
Open border would mean that we have no records of people coming across the border. The law in this country has been that if you
Again, under like Vinny's whole take there, then PBD would have never been able to actually enter the country. Like Vinny wouldn't be here. Like, this is my favorite part. These idiots don't even understand what the fuck they're advocating for.
put your foot
You want some yelling? I could do some yelling.
in this country, it's
I've been looking for a bit while out doing errands.
the international
Nice.
law. It's a U.S.
Glad you're
law.
here.
If you put your foot in this country and you apply for asylum, you are due a process to do that. 98% of those people who are then what you guys would call catch and release come back for their hearings. We are woefully understaffed in terms of like immigration judges, and that process is definitely broken. I would love to see more money spent in the processing of these people so that we can establish which ones, like your family,
Like my family as
Maybe-
well. Illegal immigrants.
but came in
Yep.
through a refugee status. They weren't citizens on day one. They came in, they went
What? They told me they were.
through a process, and
They told me they were the good ones. This is why I make this argument this way.
and it's possible at that time. I mean, I remember, I was old enough to remember the Iran hostage situation. I
Emotional.
remember the fallout afterwards. There may have been some form of temporary protected status, whatever it was at the time, that allows people to come in. Then they're assessed and processed. It's determined that, yes, their claim for asylum is appropriate or not, et cetera, et cetera. That's what we're looking at there. As you scroll up on those other charts, you can see when Title 42 ends, which was only supposed to be an emergency situation that has to do with health, and you can't have it both ways. Either COVID ends or it doesn't end, the pandemic. And so people come in. There's no doubt, and that number on that chart that Musk had, under Biden, more people received temporary protected status. We had a problem in Haiti as the country is falling apart. You had people from Ukraine coming in.
Yeah, remember when we actually used to like do things like have hearts and actually care about people? Yeah, that was a weird time, guys. Jeez.
Because of obviously
Bunch of woke garbage that was.
the invasion. These are all under temporary
here's a
protected
question
status.
for you,
They
Sam.
all got
Sam.
Social Security numbers.
May play some more Tekken.
So,
Getting that itch.
so they could pay taxes into our government and not necessarily get
vote
the services
Democrats,
back.
Yes, and vote for Democrats.
No, they
right, yes,
can't
so-
vote.
Right.
Those Social Security cards literally say
AOC,
on the card say
AOC,
you can't use this for.
Yeah, but then they're just walking in there, and then there's no checks. They just give another name, and then they're voting. That's what happens, bro.
AOC said we don't have an illegal immigration problem. We have a documentation problem. That's what AOC said. So this is not something new. You know how when you talk about who's
I
better
remember when people didn't give a shit I existed. Nice
at
times.
gerrymandering? Who's better at gerrymandering, the left or the right?
Republicans seem to be better at that.
The Republicans are
I know.
much
I
better
agree.
at that.
Guess what?
What are the odds Trump deports those 200,000 Ukrainian refugees to Russia?
So it's not like they can fight it and say no, we're not. That's their
I don't know. They're white. They actually might be okay.
reputation. They have it. They're better at gerrymandering. Strategically, they're better
Especially if they can get their boy howdy voice
at
on.
doing that. But for you to sit here,
I don't have a problem.
May I make
like
my
you do
point?
with document,
Let me
with
make my
immigrants.
point.
Yeah.
When you sit here and you watch yourself when you're saying these policies and you spew out these policies, what the average person does, they'll watch it, and if
I like how this guy's he's a billionaire trying to speak for the average person. as a streamer who is the average person, I'm gonna say this one politely. Fuck you.
They've already
for even thinking that you could speak for the average person.
Outgrown it, because today the problem with folks, content creators,
anybody who listens to PBD like as a fan should also just be like, bro.
Have today's the following.
Although, I mean, hey, they love them some Elon, so billionaires seem to be like the in thing with these people.
We say something on a video and we're wrong. You know what others will do? They'll react to it and they'll say stuff to it. And if we're right, they'll keep coming to us to want to hear more of it, because they'll say, at least you sound reasonable. And they'll say, I want to hear what John has to say. I want to hear what Joe has to say. I want to hear what Megan has to say. I want to hear what, whoever these people are that are giving ideas out there want to say, right? But when you keep saying stuff that others are able to tear apart so many times, that a former liberal watches that maybe was a viewer of you and says, how can Sam not see this and outgrow it?
Ryan, did you vote in the Pep Squad or the
is still
the Pepper Patch?
Stuck on this policy that's been proven. Americans don't want to pay more taxes to a government that wastes their taxes. How does he not see that? How does he keep pushing this agenda back and forth? Then you lose an audience, and the people you keep is the following. Here's who you end up keeping. You end up keeping an audience.
I keep looking at the Academy back there, and it's got Witcher font, so I'm just like, what Witcher game is that?
That makes you think you're right, but that's not always the case. You keep an audience that, of course, hates rich people. Rich people are bad people.
Pepper Patch sounds adorable, not going to lie, but it's not as catchy. Yeah.
People. And they're probably not making a lot of money, and they come to Sam to save them. Hey, let's trash and bash rich people because this is what we got to do. Yes, Sam, let's go after the rich people. But in reality...
Are you talking about me? Because we just had our biggest month. No, and when people on
you had the biggest one because of Jubilee. You were on Jubilee and you were on that show.
We've been going back up.
No, you were on Jubilee and Jubilee gave you a lot of eyeballs. So Jubilee brought a lot of traffic to you.
A lot of people agreed.
Wow, he's got it's almost like he's got a point to prove here because he's got dwindling numbers and he lost all his bot accounts because they did a bot purge over on YouTube.
A lot of,
isn't that kind of fun?
No. I mean, a lot of people agreed.
Did more agree or disagree?
I would say a lot more agreed.
Well, you would say that because you're in it.
Well,
so for
you want me to do metrics? We had...
Yeah, it's because you're on that side. I think that the other side disagreed. You see what I did there? My side's right. Your side's wrong.
And our biggest subscription...
These dumbasses don't get it, where they overthink this shit, and it's literally as, like, it's playground politics at that point.
I believe...
My daddy could beat your daddy up.
Because Jubilee helped you.
Okay. But my point is that
did you get you got a boost from doing so? You went on an appearance and you got a boost.
You should say thank you to Jubilee. That's a
thank
very
you, Jubilee.
Yeah.
I would also add that
did you say thank you? Did you say thank you? Thank your daddies. Thank your what is with these fuckers? What is with these fuckers? Seriously and honestly, I feel bad for all their wives. They literally have. This dude does it. Know that you're married. Listen, I'm the one who actually makes the money. I'm the billionaire. You should be thanking me. Even, you know what? You should be thanking me for our kids, for even having the opportunity to raise our kids.
There are definitely people who watch my show and then over a period of time are going,
the Pet Pals?
I disagree with Sam.
That's actually a good idea.
And
Pet Pals.
Proudly,
I like that.
Those people move to the left of where I'm at.
Yeah, if you end up on Honeybee Stream, definitely start, I don't know, saying, hey, when do you debate PepTalks?
You think people move to the left?
100%.
Sam, do you realize
100%.
Do you realize how
a lot of people have moved left? Like, the thing is, you guys, this is the thing. They are freaking out about this like this because they know he's right. They know that they're... Oof, he farted. Jesus. Oh,
how
wow, that
to
made
make
me lose my train of thought. That's a bad... buddy.
A statement. And I love that you said it.
Oh, it's true.
I love that you said it. So you think people who age and live longer, they go further to the left than to the right? You think as people mature in...
Yes. And as they live through multiple Republican administrations, they start to see that when they're talking about things like the deficit, when they're honestly, I've watched a lot of my friends age out of being Republicans since the Bush era because of things like this, where they're like, oh shit, well, honestly, Yeah, they did a really bad job there. And then Obama, Obama's second term, this is the reason they freaked out so much, because they knew that he would solidify himself as like this leftist demagogue, like that everybody remembers as, it was a period of peace and it was great.
Life. Am I the oldest person?
PepTalks is horrendous. No, please, no, God.
No, you're not. But
I'm pretty close, I bet.
No, you're
fine. No PepTalks.
You're pretty far. It's just the other guy looks very young. But you.
How old are you?
He's 62.
You got me by 3 years.
Yeah. So you're not. So
you're 59, dude.
Yeah.
Good for you.
But do you think as people age, they
my man's just like, you look fucking great.
become more conservative or more liberal, more leftist?
I guess that you know what? There might be something to that leftist shit. I mean, Vinny, look at you. What you're like? What are you? Vinny's like 21, and he.
I think it changes with generations. But...
No, that's not the case. There is a evident more of one or the other. Do you think, like it's asking a question, do you think as we age, do our bones get stronger or weaker? They get weaker. Mm-hmm. As we age, do we become more leaning? Okay, this is a chart. Perfect. Thank you for that. Pew Research. As we age, we become more conservative. But to you, the more you age, the more you become progressive and leftist. See, that's the part where Americans, as they age and go through, you may have a very young...
No, actually, that's not incorporating the fact that these are the people that hoarded their wealth from Reagan up until this point. And now you're seeing a shift in specifically millennial thinking, where you're seeing nobody in the millennial sphere doing what all of our parents said. Like, I'm gonna speak for myself on this one. My dad was always like, you're gonna be, you know what, you may always remain socially liberal, but you're gonna find a fit, you're gonna remain, or you're going to be fiscally conservative at some point. And it's going to happen, before your 30s, right around your 30s. Once you start getting taxed and you understand how taxes work, like they were very condescending about it. But I do think that this actually is something. I think that the millennials are, since we're not seeing the same benefits that, our parents saw coming up, you're going to see this shift over to the left. Sam's essentially right.
Audience.
And I'm not just agreeing with him just because, I stand Sam. I honest to God think that this is realistically not taking into account fairly either. Because I'm looking at this age bracket here. This makes absolutely no sense. Because look, once they get to what? How? How is this not just a completely biased? Wait, what? Who did this? Was this Pew Research?
Finds you.
Okay.
I think if you look at this chart, and first of all, you'll also notice that the dynamic.
Yeah, there's something off about that though.
Shifts, right? If what you were saying was true, 70 to 79 would be greater Republican favor than 60 to 69.
I
don't know what to tell you.
So funny.
But
so
I will also tell you.
Realize what your shtick is. I'm getting your shtick.
I'm looking at the numbers you put up on this graph.
18 to 24 is 34. Then it goes to 32. Oh my God! They became more liberal because they went to college and they screwed up their brains.
Wait.
And then they go to 42, 47, 50, 50. Oh, they dropped to 51 and they go to 58. Nope, they're becoming more liberals at 70 to 79.
And they go to college and they learn that we can't exploit them.
Why 70 to 79 become more liberal? Do you know why 70 to 79 becomes more liberal? Do you know why?
Shut the fuck up and let them talk.
70 to 79.
God, if I was ever on any of these fuckers' podcasts, I would react that exact way, where it's like, are you gonna let me fucking speak? Seriously, I would get so aggressive where it's just like, I'm not going to let you be this fucking way with me.
More liberal?
Yes, because
this is also why I probably will not be invited on these types of podcasts.
Getting Social Security.
Exactly. So they got to protect it. So they're like, hey, man, at least, I agree. But still at 80 plus, they're more conservative.
But
you know why 80 plus?
I like how he essentially agreed with Sam there, and he was just like, I got to sound like I'm the right one.
They're more conservative.
I will also suggest to you that it has to do with the years that you grow up in.
It's the same thing I said to you last time.
People 50 to 59 grew up in a Reagan era, in a Thatcher era.
Did they just call you Pep Patrol?
And as in the wake of that, you can.
I hate to say I don't hate that one, dude.
See that people are more progressive, increasingly.
Why did Charlie Kirk blow up so much the last 4 years? Specifically 18 months. Why did he blow up?
Like, if you want our actual theory on this without these guys, like without Sam starting an entire thing, it's because you guys were funded by a bunch of fucking billionaires and you just need to admit it, where the funding is not on the left.
On TikTok, out of all the places.
Did you see?
How do you blow up on TikTok?
Did you see?
Do you know he was the most viewed Jubilee out of all of them?
Did you see what?
Did you see that?
I think so. Can you see how many views Charlie Kirk got on Jubilee?
But that's
inconvenient.
This is just absolute.
Why do you think Charlie Kirk blew up though?
I have theories.
I want to hear it.
How did he start? How did Charlie Kirk start?
I don't care how he started.
No.
No. That plays into it.
He's finishing.
That plays into it.
How did he blow up so much in the last 8
that plays into it. You guys don't want to answer because you kind of know, or it's just like, oh, right.
Going to colleges, speaking in front of colleges. What do you mean?
Yeah. How did TPUSA get started?
Tell us. Let's see what angle
My
you're going to.
assumption is he was going to college.
They don't. It's because they don't know.
I actually want to hear what he says because I'm.
He doesn't know. Oh, this is adorable. I actually want to know. Because I don't actually know.
Watching these 2 times.
He got paid by a billionaire to start that organization.
Got it. So
it's just the truth.
So there is no
what's
conviction.
wrong with that?
There's
so
nothing
there's no
wrong with
conviction on what Charlie does.
No, I'm sure there's conviction in what Charlie does.
Why did
Although
Charlie
he's
do so in the
changed
last 18 months?
I mean,
why do you think a 20-year-old guy? Why is he blowing up the way that he is? Why is this?
well, he's not 20. He's in his
28 years old, 29,
No, he's
30
30
years old.
now. He's 30 now, but he started when he was 20.
Yeah,
He's
the last
30
2
now.
years.
I love how he's just like, oh, yeah. You know what? We got the youth. This is my point. We got the youth.
He was in his 20s. Why?
Instead of just acknowledging that you have a bunch of confused adolescent boys that are also going to start pivoting left and, like, thus proving that graph complete bullshit.
Why has he blown up so much?
I mean,
because the damage here is you red-pilled a bunch of kids way too early. They don't understand politics until they're about 18. And then, ironically, once they do start paying into this system, they're going to start wondering, why don't I have better health care? Wait, why is it on me to get a better job to have health care? Wait a minute.
I think there's a lot of money circulating.
Planet
on
Path,
the
money,
right.
my path.
He started when he was 18.
Forget the money.
Sam,
to go to college.
To blame it on the money. What about his voice, his reason, his rationale?
for Breitbart,
He's
he was-
compelling.
By the way. So here's a question. So you think if you got the same money Charlie got, you would have the same views?
Yeah, I think, I saw Milo Yiannopoulos on Tim Pool about a month or two ago talking about how the Daily Wire got so big. And he said, this is Milo Yiannopoulos. Well, he said,
Charlie's different than Daily Wire.
100%. Right. He said, in the right-wing content era, he said, we buy bots, we buy views, we buy. I'm telling you what.
Oh my God! Oh my God, King! Oh my God! Sam comes in with the steel chair.
Well, Yiannopoulos said.
Go ahead.
This is what he said.
This is
Pull
fantastic.
It up.
This is fantastic.
And
notice how anytime that there's an actual good point coming from Sam, they have to get so insecure in the way that they respond. None of it is just, okay, yeah, I could see your point. These guys are so insecure, they will never say that shit.
He said
they will never concede. Honestly, these are some of the weakest motherfuckers on the planet.
This is fantastic.
And it's just weird because this is fantastic. This is fantastic.
Till we make it.
Oh my God.
And that's why he's.
Oh my God. My God. Yeah, you gotta trust this guy, even though we love this guy, even when he was saying what we liked, but then he started saying things that we don't like.
He's non-existent anymore.
Sam,
he used to be a big voice. Now you don't hear nothing.
Sam,
about
respectfully, there's something called giving credit where credit is due. Regardless of where Charlie got his money. Hold on.
I don't care. Great. I'll give him credit. Charlie Kirk has made a lot of money.
But that's not where the credit is due.
What do you want me to say?
And I don't even know how much money he's made. The point is he's motivated a lot of people.
Yeah.
That's where the credit should be done. He's changed the hearts and minds of people
He helped Trump
on
win.
campuses. He would arguably be the #1 reason that Trump flipped Arizona.
Yeah.
To not give someone credit for the good work they've done and blame it on a billionaire.
Money flipped Arizona. You look at TPUSA played heavily in the Kari Lake.
Intellectually bankrupt is how I would describe this podcast. Yeah. That's
race.
actually a good
So
one.
huge, and the biggest, the widest loss they had was people under the age of 30.
Okay. So you don't want to give Charlie any credit. You blame. So
No, I don't care.
But Sam, hold on. Before
Hey,
being
give him all the credit in the
Sam,
world.
before being a nihilist,
I'll give him a trophy.
Sam, you've had. Let me just ask this
What
question.
does he want? He can take the.
Sam,
I don't
give
think
him your
Charlie
car.
wants.
We're right
I
here,
don't think
buddy.
Charlie needs anything.
Yeah, Sam.
Well, I don't
Charlie
understand
won
what
on
this conversation.
TikTok.
So
Sam,
a
you
billionaire
just-
gives Charlie money and he automatically wins. Okay, I got a question for you. Explain how Mark Benioff puts money into Time magazine and it goes down.
I don't know who Mark Benioff is. And I haven't
Salesforce.
read Time magazine and
In Time magazine, literally, they went to an actual physical, a public, a news, like a newspaper or a magazine publication for this point. Not a podcaster or so, like they don't have anybody because they know that if the left wing were funded, they would actually have some traction. Give this money to Hassan. Like, seriously, give Hassan the same type of backing and see exactly what happens. Also, let's give him the bots. Let's give him all the bot accounts in the world and see how that also fucking plays into it. Let's see how this goes.
But you should get around more. It's unfortunate. Come out of the echo chamber. Mark Benioff is one of the most successful entrepreneurs
That's actually kind of funny coming from this room.
of all time, who used his money after his business success, and he went and he bought
Oh my God, he looks like the guy from 90 Day Fiance.
Time magazine because he wants to push liberal views and values, and the thing craters.
He would love.
well,
you.
then
That-
me
but wait,
not
he's a
reading
billionaire.
Time
It should
magazine
work.
You should hit him up
would
for
be
money.
Getting out of my
Hit him up for money.
my bubble, right?
Yeah, but you know what it is?
That's true.
Sam,
I gotta give you
I
credit for
like
that.
to give everybody the benefit of the doubt. I truly do. And I try to look at the only one you can succeed in business and in life and in sales, like you're developing other people, is you have to always look at the best of everybody. You don't have a choice. As a parent, you have to always look at the best of your kids. You don't have a choice for them to do their best, right? And I
try
truly
and do
want to
that
look
with
at
my
you
kids.
and look at it from the part of the best to say capable, great communicator, temperament is solid. You go through it. I want to see all the good with you. But the part where you sit there and you realize some policies don't work, the
What
young Turks,
policies don't work?
Go to
What name a policy that I support that doesn't work?
What do you think about
90% tax rates. I would start there.
Yeah.
Like I say, when we had those in this country, everybody can look this up. We had
these eras that these motherfuckers are always like glazing over. That's what they're talking about.
was known as the Great Compression.
Yep.
It was the greatest
The market-
expansion
the market-
of our economy and the lowest wealth
do you think about-
disparity
No.
we had in the history of this country. I don't know how you would define it anything other than a success.
Let me ask you a question. Let's stay right here on this 90% tax rate. 90%. So
Top marginal.
Okay, I'm with
marginal.
you. So you get to keep 10%.
No. 10%
Top
of every
margin, of
dollar
course.
after $4 million.
Okay. No, well, here we go. I'm going to ask
Yes.
you a question. Like, stay with me for a second.
He doesn't like the answer because it's starting to make sense to him. Where he's like, "Oh,
You just said you had a great month, great quarter, right? Like you.
Jubilee was
You
a big,
here it comes. Here it comes. Well, what about when you make the money?
Whatever it was,
Jubilee's-
Come on, you want to keep your money.
It's billionaires.
Sure.
Like, you know what billionaires are
Mark
to Charlie?
Benioff-
How much
to-
Jubilee says
additional
billionaire.
profit revenue did you make in the last quarter because you've went viral so many times? How much?
I mean, I don't know.
Man, this day just sucks balls,
But I
y'all.
would-
Man, I'm
I
sorry.
guess it's somewhere around
Fuck, dude.
tens of thousands.
Tens of thousands. So not millions, tens of thousands.
No.
Okay, so what are you going to do with that extra 30 grand, 100 grand? What are you going to do with it?
We're going to hire another person.
Oh, so you're going to expand.
Well, I don't know if we're going to expand, but I'm gonna probably. I mean,
You're going to invest.
well, I may invest into some of it.
You're not just going to bury it in the sand. You're going to use it.
correct.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Here's the problem.
So, no, we gotta understand. This is the company. These
Yeah.
are pre-tax dollars. When I say
Sure.
90 cents on every dollar, I'm talking individual tax. So
these ideas
this
are-
is not
these are
about
ideas
corporate
have been-
tax. It wouldn't impact anything you're saying about the business. But go ahead.
But we're talking about taxes in general. Let's
no.
not go inside baseball.
There's a
here.
difference between personal taxes and corporate taxes.
Well, if you have an S corp, it flows through to the individual, so it's the same thing. How are you registered with the
it's
with
an
the
S
IRS?
corp,
Oh,
but it's
so it
pre-tax
flows through to
dollars.
you.
It's pre-tax dollars.
It's literally what it does. It's the same as individual, but respect to you. But you
See, we don't
can't
have a problem
take-
with you making money and getting
I
rich.
want you to
We'll be
know.
okay with that.
Honestly, I'm a
Free tax dollars. He keeps saying that. again, this isn't like
little disappointed. It was only tens of thousands of dollars. I wish it was millions of dollars. I wish the best for you. But here's the problem: why you can't tax your way to making everybody wealthy.
No. I'm not taxing my way to making everybody wealthy. I am taxing.
You're mischaracterizing exactly what he's saying because you know that you're on the chopping block on that one because you want to protect your line.
Understand the 90% tax rate on every dollar after $4 million is to deal with wealth disparity in this country, because I believe the more you concentrate wealth, the more you concentrate political power.
Why 4 million?
And I believe in democracy.
Why 4 million?
Just because that's what we had for 15, 20 years in this country. I mean, it was 470,000 in 1940.
Why not do that like
$300,000? I'm just because I'm a student of history and I really appreciate Ronald Reagan. Do you know the Reagan story of why he ended up running for governor and for president? Do you know the whole tax story? Let me give it to you real quick.
I know the story of GE sending him around to fight against Medicare.
Okay, but that's not the story we're talking about. The tax story that Ronald Reagan basically was...
Because it's not the one that makes him a hero.
It's like, holy crap. Because everything with taxes has to do with incentives and motivation. So the story with Reagan was the following. The top marginal tax rate back in the 40s and 50s, when Ronald Reagan, before he became a governor, he was a famous what? Actor. There we go. We're on the same page. Was $200,000.
I love when dumb people try to make smart points.
And the equivalent of $200,000.
You following me? You following me?
Today.
I'm barely following myself.
Is $2.5 million. So at $200,000, the top marginal tax rate was your favorite number?
90%.
90%. We're going somewhere. So do you know his famous quote?
We're on this walk together. We're holding hands. We're holding hands. Okay.
I'll do two movies a year. I get paid $100,000 per movie. Tell me why I should go make a third movie. Because if you're going to tax me at 90%,
and you know what?
You shouldn't.
If you've seen his movies, we didn't miss much.
No, don't go there, guy. Don't go there, guy.
I don't know what to tell you.
Talk numbers.
If you don't want to, don't make it.
Stop it. The reason he wouldn't make the movie is because he would only keep 10%. He said famously, I can make freaking Gone with the Wind. I wouldn't keep any of the money. It has to do with, you said shtick, carrots and sticks. If you don't incentivize people, if you don't incentivize entrepreneurs, why will they work harder?
Okay.
Why will they invest?
This, again, is playing into the idea that you're not going to, like, if you put a cap on any of this and you say that I'm going to get, like, taxed when I make more money, then it doesn't incentivize me to make more money.
So
that's not how this fucking works, you idiot. All right, then. Admit that you've made enough then. Then honestly, when have you made enough? When is enough for you? When have you fucked the planet and every other little person enough to actually make a difference for you in your little heart?
You just had a great incentive.
More peasant brain nonsense.
You killed it.
This guy's honestly, this is like, it's kind of weird that this is what's going to Marie Antoinette us into fucking like going against people, is the idiots like this. They honestly don't see that they're kind of condescending to their own audience, because these guys forget that like most of the people listening to this are driving a fucking truck.
Made tens of thousands of dollars.
I'm going to take your metaphor.
Trust me, dude. The guys listening to this are not fucking making enough to say, yeah, you know what? Yeah, I'm all for this.
Something
like, let's not tax the billionaires.
That money.
So what happens when Ronald Reagan gets to that threshold of the wealthiest of the wealthy in the country? Because that's what it takes, right? To be making $4 million a year, that puts you. No.
You're making up $4 million like a floozy.
Okay, 2.5.
It's $200,000. Yeah, let's use actual
2.5.
That's what the correlation is. Yes.
So if you're making $2.5 million a year, that places you in the top 1 or 2%, I would imagine, maybe even smaller.
It's less.
0.5%.
Yeah, top 1% is about $600,000, $500,000.
Yeah. So you're in the top 0.5% of the
just country. Like you're in the top 1% of a podcaster. Right. You're doing great.
Top 0.5%. What happens when Ronald Reagan decides, I'm only going to make 2 movies a year, is you get an opportunity to be that actor. And then somebody else gets the opportunity to make that money.
So shittier actors get more opportunities. It sounds like DEI.
No, it's not. Believe me, I've been out in L.A. The best actors don't necessarily get every role. And so it gives an opportunity to spread the wealth.
Also, it's like, like Sam was saying, has he seen any Ronald Reagan movies? There's a reason that we don't really go, hey, every year I like to watch that Ronald Reagan classic.
It's about
exactly what-
centralized subjective fairness on the altar of greed and jealousy. That's what it is. Because it's not fair that all of these people worked their ass off and did.
No, it's perfectly fair. What's not fair is for you to expect us to continue funding your comfort, like your comfortable lives at the expense of us, while we get taxed at higher rates
and achieve something. We have to stop them and go get someone else who maybe isn't working hard. Because
all these people have no idea of Sam Seder's pedigree. That is true.
So
they are underestimating him, and I have a feeling that this is gonna make for even better content. Dude, we're not even we're about halfway through this. I might have to. No, I think we'll just go for it today.
fair.
Are you telling me that there aren't enough
Man, I had a lot
hardworking
to get to,
actors
though.
who get?
Damn.
No, stop
We only
changing
have
it. That's your stick.
That's
That's
what
your
your
stick,
stick
dude.
is.
No,
But
it's
Sam,
not.
what you're
Sam.
saying-
I'm asking you a question here because it's about greed and jealousy. Is it?
1v1, 2, 3, 4. 1 through. Yeah, I mean, the Jubilee thing trained him for this.
The greed that you attack is the greed that you have. You're sitting there. These people must have been greedy. They got all this money and everything, and you're envious and you're greedy for their money. So we're going to take it from them. It should be 90%. They'll keep making. Oh, but that's good because now we've stopped them from making
I think
good
it's pretty
movies.
obvious to everybody how jealous I am of all of you.
No, it's not everyone.
Your point
Please go ahead.
about incentives. That is why Ronald Reagan brought in.
That's why. Look at this seething dumbass. Oh
Arthur
my God,
Laffer.
he can't handle
Laffer,
actually
yes.
sitting next to somebody with a high IQ, angry patriot. Indeed, you're just so mad that because you're dumb. Oh, it's funny.
Of course.
I don't like this.
Laffer curve says that the higher you go up on taxes, the least incentive there is for people to make money.
Yeah.
And
As if a CEO works harder than an effing janitor. Again,
Try harder to earn more and work harder and stay.
I made the good investment. You know what? It's not that my daddy gave me an opportunity that nobody else had. Like seriously, like they're also negating the fact that most of these guys were born with silver spoons in their mouths, and it's the generational wealth thing that started happening, and they're honest to God, just like, we got, come on, man. You're going to start telling us that our kids can't have money. What's up with that?
Late and be an entrepreneur and try to build something. Go
exactly.
on.
But the lower you have taxes,
Yeah, Sam didn't take the bait.
you can actually lower taxes and you'll get more revenue because these people are going to actually be more incentivized because they get to keep more. Arthur Laffer was the key advisor to Sam Brownback when he became governor of Kansas in 2012. You can look this up. People just have to Google Sam Brownback, Kansas, 2012. What happened with the great Kansas experiment? He did exactly what Arthur Laffer said. He slashed taxes for S corps, etc. Within, I think it was 2 or 3 years, the Republican legislature rose taxes because revenues had cratered so badly and they had so destroyed what was once the jewel of Kansas, their education system, their higher education system. They rose taxes. Okay. Well, there you go. I mean, there it is. Kansas provides compelling evidence of the failure of supply-side tax cuts, which is exactly what you're advocating.
Do you know how many case examples I can show of cutting taxes helps states, helps companies, help people?
Please show me one.
How do you think this company that we're sitting? Hold on,
show me a state.
Sam, hold on.
Google the state.
You want to throw out some? How do you think this company right here?
Let him say that and respond to it. Okay. So, for example, where are we at right now? What state?
Florida.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Can you tell me why, out of all the 50 states in America in 2024 that voted for president, why did 50 for 50 state become more Republican? Can you tell me why, out of 50 states that voted for president in 2024, can you tell me why the 2 states that lost the most people, the only 2 states in America that lost $1 trillion of money under management, that left their states to another state like Nevada, Texas, and Florida, can you tell me why those 2 states, imagine, New York and California, during COVID, lost $1 trillion of wealth that left to other states? And even after all those people that left, the 2 states that became more Republican than they were before in 2020 were New York and Texas. Can you tell me why people come to Texas? Why do people go to Nevada? Why do people go to Florida? Why do you think it is? Is it because maybe they don't have state taxes? Why do you think Arthur Laffer's in Tennessee? Why do you think Musk is in Texas? Why do you think Rogan?
Yeah, because honestly, you guys don't have to worry about the things that most other people do. Like, for instance, those little bit of taxes on every bit of or piece of property that you buy, every car that you own. Like, you guys aren't you're just not honest either, because you guys do this blanket thing where you're just like, oh, the taxes are lower. The taxes are lower. It's like, no, they get you somewhere. That's my favorite thing my dad ever said to me, and this was while we were having an actual conservative debate with my stepmom, where she was just talking about this is why we ran from the taxes. And he kind of shut her down, where he's just like, listen, do I need to break out the budget and just explain it, just show you that it's like, no, we're not honestly saving that much money and that they got us other places? Yes, we can see where we save money on other things like our house, but they got us and all these other things that did add up. It's like
to Texas. Why do you think California is losing so many jobs?
I think
it's because of high
people
taxes?
who like to evade taxes. Sure,
it's evade taxes. So you see, but guys, let me, Sam, respectfully,
that's what it is.
I just figured out who you are. I'm telling you, I just figured out who you are. Deep down inside of you, you are driven by so much power, control, a deep-rooted feeling matching the qualities of a communist that wants to tell you what to do, and you think you know what's best for others, and if it isn't your...
I thought this was like a smart point. I thought he figured out who he is. Where the hell is he going with this?
Your way. Everybody else is wrong.
At least I smoke pot and I have a reason for my brain trailing off the way that it does. This guy.
And by the way, an extremely...
Yeah, what?
Unattractive quality.
I literally would have just been like, what'd you say?
Literally just advocating for higher taxes on super wealthy people.
No, you're not, because what you just said,
$2.5 million.
What you just said, let me just make the point here. You just said people who left.
Honestly, this would make it a little bit better if Sam just adjusted it to 100 million, just even arbitrarily, because when you look at the numbers and the percentages of people who make $100 million a year, that still would put us into that would put us into the green. So let's
California.
Let's start there. And honestly, that would take away a little bit of their talking point where it's like, new millionaire, because $4 million, I even have to say, it's a little bit, nah.
New York.
You're not going to sell that on enough people, because enough, middle-class Americans see themselves as being rich and make about that much money, so.
Your first response was, they're evading, as if they have to pay you. That's not how this works. They're evading tax.
You start there, and then you work your way down.
These guys are tax evaders. They left.
I don't know. This is just my idea.
It's called, if a company offers better benefits.
It looks like Pep Squad has broken the 61% threshold.
You on Rumble?
I think we stream on Rumble.
Where do you put your video clips the most? YouTube?
YouTube.
Why YouTube?
That's just what the technology was when we started.
Why don't you do it on Vimeo?
We do run it through Vimeo.
Why don't you do all your stuff through Vimeo? Why do you do it on YouTube?
That's where most people are.
And that's where they pay the best.
Well, that's where we have the most audience. But if we had a bigger
you're evading the...
That's where they paid the best. I thought Kick paid the best, because I thought that the whole thing with Kick is that if you get a streaming contract on Kick, then they give you guaranteed money.
Revenue going to another company. You're such an evader of sponsorship
platforms.
Money going to another company that keeps more money of it. You're such an evader. Why are you evading all this sponsorship money? You're such a sponsorship money evader. Sam Seder's a sponsorship money evader, everybody.
Well, has he not listened to the Majority Report? Because he would know that he kind of is.
Come on, man.
Wait a minute. It's weird to hear him be right.
I'm a sponsorship evader.
Yeah.
What is it?
What did you call it? No, you called people leaving California tax evaders. That's the part.
I think there's a lot of people who leave high tax states for low tax states.
Is that evading, or is that just common sense?
You just call them tax evaders.
If you want to,
I think there's a lot of people
if they're going
that do that.
for tax reasons, then they're trying to.
There's also a lot of people that go to lower cost restaurants.
Oh, shut up. Shut up, Mr. Texas Tourism Board. You know where you live sucks. That's my favorite part, is even Joe Rogan kind of knows, like, Austin kind of sucks.
Higher cost
Shit.
Would you rather me
There's
use?
people that shop at H&M versus shopping at Gucci.
Better opportunity.
It's called saving money.
Situations.
If I have to be under, if I have to be under someone's watch, like a dictatorship quality like you that thinks you know what's best for others.
You think I'm a dictator?
Financial dictator.
The way you
Financial
are,
dictator.
where you feel.
That's funny, coming from somebody that wants to control women's bodies, and he has absolutely no ability to equate that.
Your first answer was a tax evader. That's how you view them. You don't view them as a asset to the state. You see them as criminals. You just called entrepreneurs that live in New York and California as criminals. Is tax evader a criminal? Rob, can you pull up what a tax evader is? Type in tax evader synonym. Tax evader synonym. What?
What up, Distracting? Honestly, this one, I don't know why Sam did this, but he kind of walked himself into like him having this point thrown against him.
What are some tax evader synonyms? Can you go to tax evader synonyms or also tax dodger, tax
to evade paying? You could have just not called them tax evaders, but you could have been cheeky about it and just been like, to evade paying taxes, you're moving out of state to a state that you wouldn't necessarily be wanting to move to before. But because of their tax incentives, you moved there.
tax avoidance.
Like, realistically, let's be fucking real. The reason that these guys, they care so much about this, and they need to convince themselves that they're like what they've done in moving to Texas and like moving their businesses to wherever the fuck they moved is a good thing, is because they know deep down inside that they hate it there, that they hate the people there, that they want to be in New York, that they want to be in the cities. They would love to be able, like Petrick Back David would love to have his studio in downtown Brooklyn, USA. But he knows that he would be paying more, even though he could fucking afford it 1,000%. But he also would lose his audience because, look at that, no consistency. And then he's just like, oh, well, yeah, I got to show everybody that I'm a man of the people, that I'll at least see to go get my, acres and acres in Texas. I'll go buy a bank for my podcast. I'm such a, I'm relatable.
Calling these people criminals.
A person who tries to avoid paying taxes, often through illegal.
Someone who illegally okay.
Calling somebody who.
All right, no.
Who leaves.
So me, I left. So I left California because
I'm sorry. I should have said tax avoiders.
Right.
Tax avoiders. No, there you go.
Okay, so
there
tax
you go.
evaders. Right.
Avoiders.
It's called.
No, because now he's mad. He's like, I can't make my point anymore. He corrected himself.
Are we good with tax avoiders?
It's called better opportunities.
Am I a better person if I say
Sam,
tax
you're also a tax avoider.
Better opportunities.
Because if you have an S corp, you have what is called as write-offs.
Oh, that's such an
And so you don't. So like when you do write-offs.
Do I do business?
I already know the answer. Of course you do.
Write off.
I hate when people like have to repeat the question when they know it, because that's how you know it. There is like gotcha there. Just say yes. Just say you fucking write things off. It's not a gotcha if you're fucking just go, yeah, I'm are you guys really going to like gotcha me for using the tax code the way that that it is incentivized to be used?
You write it off. Why you avoiding taxes, bro?
Why would you do such a thing, Sam? You're a tax evader.
Yeah, I got you on that one.
It's
Call the cops.
Shame on this guy
just to do that.
Writing off taxes.
Here's something.
Call the feds.
Here's something that
You probably have an accountant helping you.
He does. Sam, here's something that I've learned. It's okay to say the following. You ready? Man, I might have been wrong on that one.
Come by, say hi.
I just
Oh, nice.
conceded.
In anything.
I should have said.
Hello, nice lady of my pal distracting here.
I'm just saying, in anything, because where growth happens is when you
Tax
be like,
avoider.
Hope you guys are having fun.
yeah, when you grow. I remember the most amount of money I ever made was in 2016. I was like, oh my God.
This is like a
I'm a millionaire now.
session.
It's a tax therapy session. I was like, oh my God, I'm paying all this taxes. I don't like this.
And
I
what
created an
fascinates
S-corp.
me about this is that, like, I'm talking about policies that impact the country. I'm talking about the implications
And they make it about them.
of taxation
Way to go.
on the top 0.5% top 1% of this country.
Who pay
and it is
50%
boiled
of
down
taxes, Sam.
to you guys saying that I'm a bad person.
No,
care.
I actually think you're a great person
I don't
with
care.
bad ideas.
I don't care about like any of you as individuals.
You same boat as us.
I don't care about me. Exactly.
Oh, I
I'm talking
disrespect
about
you, though.
policies. And when we get into policy, I notice how this all pivots. And I don't blame you because, frankly, if you tell the American public, and maybe not this audience, because this audience is built on your on your
How is Vinny somehow the stuttering John of this show, but he doesn't have a stutter? That is so weird.
business, around your business doings and whatnot.
Yeah.
But if you tell the American public that they're getting fleeced and they are losing political power to money, they react like they did in Wisconsin.
Mm-hmm.
They basically reject it. And and so that's
what happened,
that is
what happened in November
the message
5th,
I'm carrying.
What happened on November 5th?
Those people didn't come out. They came out to
what
vote for Donald Trump because Donald Trump is a character that they like.
Why didn't they come out in 2020?
They did.
Oh.
Why didn't they come out? Because Donald Trump was very close to their experience, and I have a feeling in 2024 they'd also vote him out if he tries to run again.
Can you imagine? Like, you had 4 years of a guy. His name is Donald Trump. Then this motivational speaker named Joe Biden shows up, okay, and he fills up the arenas, and he wins. Every time he spoke, 200,000-300,000 people would show up to just hear this man give a speech, like one of those.
No,
great
that's the thing. Biden was a complete just placeholder for not Donald Trump.
This guy gets up there, and he crushes Trump. And you guys are like, oh, he got so destroyed, crushes Trump. Look at the way Biden beat Trump.
He did, per the numbers, and he actually, like, per the numbers of the last election here, too, crushed Trump. Sorry, pal.
People don't want a person like Trump. And then America watched all the policies that you support.
These guys are just noise to keep their audience busy while they continue to grift for as long as possible. Just a bunch of nothing.
Biden comes president.
Oh, no, trust me. Honestly, if you don't have a soul and you just want to, like, make as much money as possible and you legitimately do not give a shit about your audience or just, the Republican grift is for you, man.
President.
No, that's why, honestly, like, it is kind of, it's easier to watch a leftist content creator because just by the merit of them being a leftist content creator, they've already given up on a whole bunch of opportunities in media just by being on this side, which
he
is
does what
true.
he does. 4 years later,
that's not just a joke for nothing.
His vice president, his VP,
Man, we
Kamala
get buried
Harris,
in the algorithm hard.
Antitrust and see how popular it is.
His VP runs for office. Okay, runs for office, loses every battleground state. 89 county, 50 for 50 states become more Republican, and you're sitting.
And the referendum now is literally on him crashing the economy. So, I mean, I wish this was filmed today. Like, I think this was filmed like a week ago.
You're saying you guys think you got better policies?
No, God, man, like just to watch him react to all this tariff shit and the stock market crashing, but he would tell everybody just you got to hold on, you got to hold on.
Oh, I think Kamala Harris
for one more day.
Kamala Harris is. I mean, I think it was what Biden did in staying in was atrocious. He should have gotten out way earlier.
Yeah.
There's a story coming out now of like Ron Klain seeing him before the debate and realizing the guy was a mess. And I think Harris's campaign was also poorly run. I think that, nobody could tell.
I also do love the fact that these guys are those idiots that think that just because he's a leftist, that it's all Democrats type of shit.
What her policies were. Mark Cuban's going out there saying we're going to get rid of. Right, I agree. Mark Cuban's coming out there saying like, oh, don't worry, she's not going to do any more of this antitrust stuff. On one hand, I don't want a billionaire coming out and speaking for my candidate.
Did you vote for her? Or did you sit that one out?
No, I voted for her.
You voted for Kamala. Why? Just because
it's
not Trump?
very rational.
No, hold on. What did you? I want to hold on. You voted. This is what drives me crazy about your side. You guys voted
for the lesser of two evils.
That is what policy were you going for? What do you think that she was going to do different? What can you possibly?
She was going to continue the labor push that Biden had. She was going to continue some of the policies that Biden had that were helping the community.
I'd rather have you sit that one out, Sam. Go ahead.
I'll tell you.
Go ahead. Thank you, Sam.
She was not going to cut social.
See how right-wing people only think in stories and narratives? I actually think right-wing politics gives you child brain. It really does. Well, I don't think it gives you child brain as much as it makes you, it just like keeps you in child brain. You know, you enter with child brain, it's not, and you leave with child brain.
Dirty functioning.
I don't think that it's causing child brain.
She's not going to cut the USDA. She's not going to cut the FDA. She's not going to lose us $500 billion.
Every time PBD speaks, he is telling a story, painting a picture. It's very effective in reactionary mind, for reactionary minds. Yep.
Dollars worth of.
Well, and this is also where I say though, like this is where we do have a failing in messaging, where it's like, no, like. You have to admit that some people are just kind of dumb, and you kind of got to talk to them like kids, like PBD does.
Return on investment with the IRS.
Meanwhile, Sam positioned himself to be a NPR-esque YouTube show. Like, let's be real. Like, right now with their YouTube growth, it is very, like, it's great for us who love MR and who have literally grown up with MR, but for like new audience, I can't tell you how many times every time they have a guest on, the audience just dips.
Not going to cut the Bureau of Labor Statistics. She's not.
But I don't necessarily want him to change it. I'm just saying, like in general, it is happening.
Going to cut 300
investment.
Return on investment.
Theft.
Yeah, every dollar that you give to the IRS would get 6 or 7 back. Yep. She's not going to cut the museum
Did you
and
just
library.
Say that?
Google it. Every dollar spent at the IRS gets 6 back in returns.
Goodness.
They're anticipating the cuts from Doge. The cuts from Doge are going to cost our government.
God,
500
right there when he went. Oh God. He might as well have just been like, oh, God, he actually made a good point that I don't know if it's true or not, and it sounds true, and he now we're put into a position where we have to prove he's wrong.
$1 billion.
According to who?
Studies suggest.
All right, I undersold it a little bit.
According to who?
Okay, well,
5 to 12.
You can spend time attacking the people who do these calculations.
Not
according to who? According to who? Is it Pew Research? Because Pew Research is the only one that today I have been using that's been giving information that is on my side. So if it's not Pew Research, I don't even want it.
Need me to tell you more about why?
What I'm just curious. Yeah, I'm just curious to
just
what
rando tariffs applied in a willy-nilly fashion.
He's got the Google blink.
That crashed the economy.
So
I did Google it.
Wait, you don't think the tariffs that Trump is, and I get it, the tariffs are exactly what America needs right now, because let's just go to the border.
I'm newer to MR and I love their guest appearances. Okay. Well, no, I know. I'm not, as I said, I'm not ripping on them. I enjoy them and I watch most of them. I'm just saying, as somebody who pays attention to the numbers just out of curiosity, I do watch them lose about 2,000 viewers per guest, depending on who it is.
He did with the border, with Mexico, with the tariffs. What happened to fentanyl? What happened to all the deaths? What happened to all those illegals that are coming? What do you mean? He threatened them and they went for war.
Fentanyl comes across the border at ports of entry. Fentanyl comes.
Yes, I agree with you. Meet them on their level by doing that communication style, tell stories to make points. But I think liberals don't do that. That they think meeting them on their level is capitulating policy. Yeah, no, I could see that, and that's honestly where I'm glad that.
Across the
border. I'm just adding my voice, being chatter.
Not in illegal.
Well, thank you for participating. I appreciate that.
Illegals crossing the desert. It comes in.
Oh, really? Coyotes really? Really?
Okay. It comes in.
Yep.
Yeah. It comes in at ports of entry.
I saw Rev and I was just like, Rev. Like, I don't know why.
That.
I was like,
Sam,
why
I don't
would
need
you
to
say
Google
Rev?
when it's like,
yes, you do.
You said you voted for someone. You're coming up with these policies. The worst pick ever. The biggest loss ever. She lost everything because your side. You're talking about
I don't even
people.
Know what
She didn't. That wasn't the biggest loss ever. Like, really? Guys, did you know that losing by 1.7% is the biggest loss ever in American history? Wow!
Let me ask you a question.
Wow!
You're acting like
I shouted and I have slick back hair, so I am right.
Your whole side was surprised that Biden.
Like, At what point does PBD need to cut this guy off? Because he really, dude,
wasn't there. Everybody knew, including you. He wasn't there.
Is his whole shtick that he's just the entertaining idiot that like everybody in the PBD audience knows that Vinny's an idiot, so that they're in on the joke, but Vinny's not in on the joke, so that's why it's funny.
At all, but you guys are like, he's just not Trump. The worst president in the history of the world are in this country 4 years because you guys were pretending.
My dude's never read up on Calvin Coolidge.
That he was all there, and
Andrew Jackson. We got a few others that kind of meet that criteria. Donald Trump.
And who was making all the decisions? Who was making all the decisions? Who was signing all the shit? Who was signing off? How many times did you have to see Biden sitting there and they'd ask him a question and he'd go, "Oh, I can't because they told me I couldn't." He wasn't in charge.
They who?
Yeah, who was they? Come on, Sam. It's like the most devastating loss. The world,
his aides.
Country is over it. You guys aren't pivoting. Okay, and if you think
you know, Jack, these guys, they told me what to do. They gave me ice cream. I'm like a dog. They give me ice cream when I'm a good boy.
Future is Gavin Newsom, AOC, Bernie Sanders, and
you're the one who's making Gavin Newsom like. Why is it the right wing are like guys psyop? It's the psyop. Like, this is why he did the Charlie Kirk shit. Like, he saw that they were gonna push him to the top. Like, through just being like, Gavin Newsom, he's the one that you love, right? Right? Gavin Newsom. That's what happened with Biden. You guys remember that? Where they're just like, oh, but what up if, you guys got that Bernie guy. Yeah, we see he's kind of popular, but yeah, you know what? We keep hearing that Biden's coming. You know what? Yeah, we keep hearing that the Biden's going to run. And then, sure as shit.
Jasmine Crockett, you guys are doomed. Nothing is going to change. And Elon Musk.
Why? You wouldn't even bring up Jasmine Crockett if you didn't think that she had any fucking traction. It's the same with AOC. Like, dude, at what point are these guys going to just get called out on the insecure douchebags that they are? That's what bothers me about this. Is like, it's not hard. It's not hard. Like, dude, all you had to do was have one argument with a fucking school bully in high school, and you could argue against these idiots.
Plus, you think,
like, dude, at least Andrew knows how to debate.
Elon Musk is a
like these guys, they get flustered and they just
positive or negative for
Google it. Oh, I did Google it. Oh, give me the information I wanted.
For what he's doing and pointing out what the hell these people have been screwing us for all these years, and he's pointing out. You guys are mad at the person pointing out who robbed from you than the actual robber. That's the truth, bro. Yeah, he's a billionaire. You think
who robbed? Who robbed? What's the fraud that has been found in these few months that, I mean, every time that I go on the Doge site, it's changed.
He's doing it because he needs the money.
Thank you.
What do you mean? How much fraud has he found?
Yeah.
He broke Vinny.
Who's the person who is going to be indicted for fraud?
Well, what about the waste?
What waste?
Because it's not. Stop it, Sam.
What
6.
waste? They just cut the.
Wait, what fraud? Okay, so there's no fraud. But what about the waste?
Sam,
they cut the agency that provides $295 million to museums and libraries. You appreciate libraries, don't you? I know how much reading is
Sam,
important to you.
Sam, you're pinpointing the one good thing that they probably did.
No, wait.
What about the waste of countries all around the world for LGBT?
It's just the USA. Like, again, this guy has only got USAID on the mind. Nothing else. Thank you for the Darth Himbo. Hell yeah.
Agendas in
name.
Rwanda.
The money you're talking about.
Do you want money going to
a fraction of a percentage? And
also, welcome to the show, Darth Himbo. I appreciate you being here.
If we wanted to get rid of that money, there is a way of doing it, and that is to have Congress vote and reverse what they
T-minus 5 minutes until 4:20 break, and we go into the 4:20 fun half, which is more than likely going to be the back end of this.
Authorized in the first place.
Sam.
But to have a billionaire come in and decide based upon what his personal preferences are that he's going to cut government in this way, I'm sorry, that's not democracy. It's not even remotely close to it.
He doesn't have the power to do anything. He makes a suggestion.
Why do you think
and
Americans
then the administration
voted for this?
will do it?
Why do you think Americans voted for this?
I don't think
policies?
Americans heard the
Honestly, they didn't. Even people who voted for Donald Trump have been in these circles going, I didn't vote for Elon Musk, and honestly, I kind of hope that Trump fires him.
word Doge outside of it being some type of crypto. Before,
why do you think Americans voted for Trump?
Well, I think because they want change.
In what?
What were they not happy with?
I think inflation was a big part of it for them.
What else you think?
I think for a 90% of his voters voted for Mitt Romney. I think there is the Republican Party wants to, have tax cuts.
How do we get inflation? How does inflation
Can we
happen?
stay in 2024? You said inflation. What
Tom,
else?
give me 1 second. How does inflation happen?
Inflation can happen in a couple of different ways. Inflation can happen
That's
because
funny.
you have too much money.
You know that whole thing that you want to grade Trump on and just conveniently forget his last year on? Well, if you're going to grade him on that curve, then you get to forget the first 2 years that inflation started rising, 2021, 2022, and then pick it up in 2023 when it started dipping in 2024. This is how we play consistency, guys.
Monetary supply.
Yeah.
Inflation can happen in terms of both from a monetary supply level or a fiscal stimulus.
Right.
And inflation can also happen if you have a once-in-a-lifetime pandemic that completely screws up all of your logistics. And so you've got, shipping containers.
Guys, it's funny. Stan keeps knocking Snorlax over, and I think he's doing it on purpose.
That usually cost
I don't think he likes them.
$4,000 to ship, but now they cost $22,000 to get because they're in far-flung places because the pandemic.
That was in
screwed
2021.
up.
That was in 2021.
Well, it reverberates through the thing. We saw
Again, you have to, if you're going to grade Trump on the curve where he doesn't get to own that last year of his presidency because, we got the Kung Flu came through, and I made a bunch of oopsie doopsies. I may have said something about bleach, and it totally turned people off. At what point are you guys going to break? See, that's where if I were Sam, I'd just be like, guys, he said bleach, and you guys are going to wonder how Biden won, or really? You guys are going to make this a referendum on the Democrats, like they oopsied their way into office? Please.
Inflation dropping through 2024.
Sure.
We saw rate cuts on the table.
It's becoming increasingly more clear that America First will inevitably become America alone.
Well, because we saw inflation dropping.
Any of it?
Well, yeah, again, the fact that now there's shocked Pikachu face that, what do you mean China's going into where we just left with the U.S. aid? How dare they? And they're clutching their pearls on the right now going, the Chinese, this is a proclamation of war. How dare they go to where we just left?
Again, so those are the main two issues. You don't think anything else. So you mainly think it was inflation, and your second point was?
Well, I think in large part, we have structural problems in this country, and that's why we keep getting change.
He just slipped into his Boston in large part.
Elections where we keep going back and forth.
What was?
And I would say those structural problems range from.
How does anybody forget that Trump disbanded the pandemic response team when he was in office?
I think a lot of them have to do.
They conveniently forget about a lot of things
with wealth inequality.
Okay. So you think
like him disbanding the USDA?
Democrats are better at helping wealth.
And then just being like, hey, what do you, or not USDA, the one that's responsible for checking food.
I think Democrats are marginally better.
30 seconds.
Tell me, due to what policy?
Well, taxation helps. That's a big part. Okay. Strengthening labor. I think, during Biden, I have a lot of problems with Biden, but
where 6% of the workers work from home. Yeah.
So how about labor? I mean, strengthening labor strength in the marketplace helps with wealth inequality. I think antitrust goes a long way to wealth inequality because it literally is to break up the concentration of wealth.
Here's the other question for you. So Trump's closed up the border, right? Where we are not getting numbers have dropped dramatically.
Well, if you go back and look in the and I don't necessarily agree with Biden doing this, but if you go back and look at the numbers starting in the summer of 2024, maybe a little bit before.
Stop it.
I'm sorry. Look, just put it up there.
When he started.
But listen, I'm not in favor of him doing this, but he did do it. Wait, put up the graph of.
So you mean an election year? An election year, he tried to slow down the border.
Let me just get through this, and then guys, here's what I'd like to do.
I'm not in favor of it.
I'd like to get through some stories, but I just want to close the knot here and move on because we're not going to make any progress.
See if you can get a graph of that.
Rob, if you just want to show up graph on immigration from 2021, 22, 22, is that the chart you want to see? What do you want to see?
Let's see the one over the past. You said he
dropped it.
Hey, Israel 420
dramatically in January, and I'm suggesting if you look at the past 12 months.
No, it's Rob, do me a favor, find the chart.
Yo, what up, Kois? How you doing? Been lurking for a while? Cool.
On immediately when Trump comes in, what happens to illegal immigration in America? While you're doing that, here's a question for you. 10 million illegal immigrants came through the border in 4 years under Biden.
Way more.
You're saying it's more?
What's the number of undocumented immigrants you think we have in this country right now?
What I'm asking is those 4 years. How many do we have during those 4 years?
Doesn't matter.
That came
through that we have, according to credible sources. What's the number you hear?
that are in the country now, or
that
actually
came
just
through
crossed?
Illegally during those 4 years.
Oh, I would imagine it's probably close to like 5, 6, maybe to 10 million.
Let's say 10 million people.
Tom Homan said 10 million.
Let's say it's 10 million. Let's say it's 10 million, but give or take 2 million. Let's just say it's 10 million, the number. Okay. Those 10 million people that are coming here, are they rich?
No. The vast majority of them, I would say,
are poor, right? Okay, that they're coming here. Who does that benefit? They're going to need jobs, right? And what are they willing to work for?
Oh, I think they're going to get exploited, without a doubt, if that's where you're going with this.
Oh, so let me get this straight. So who do they benefit? Do they benefit larger corporations that get cheap labor?
They benefit, yeah.
So let me get
meat
this straight.
Processing plants.
Oh my
and
God!
Whatnot. Oh, that's why I want them to have documents. Right? Let them come to the border. Give them documents so that they can get worker protections.
So then, if that's the case, you know what that validates? Joe Biden and the Democratic policies are better for the billionaires than Trump's are, because they brought in cheap labor, and that cheap labor helps who? Helps the rich.
When I am in favor of a path to citizenship that is much easier.
And by the way, those 10 million people that came here illegally, give or take.
And that was in that bill that they suggested in the fall of 2023 that Trump said he didn't want because he wanted to keep it as an issue.
Weren't his parents technically illegal when they applied? Like, isn't this how this works? Like, do they not get it?
Those 10 million people take jobs away from. Who do they take jobs away from?
Like, also start really hammering the point. Like, do they not want more PBDs? I mean, I don't, but do they not want more opportunities for PBDs? I mean, I know that they got the what is it, the golden ticket or whatever the fuck.
No, that they take jobs away from that many.
Really?
No.
Really?
We are at, in 20 years ago, we were told that the lowest unemployment that it was possible to have with a functioning economy was what? Do you remember? It 2%? Was something like 6 to 8%. And now our unemployment is at 4%. And so
it was lower than that before.
I continue.
You're not answering the question, though. Who do those people take jobs away from?
I have answered it. I think largely they don't take jobs away from people.
Oh, they don't?
Of course they do.
Hang on. Perfect. I love what you just said. You think they don't take jobs away from anybody. Perfect. So if we go and we look at when China started trading, let me make the point. When China came through and was able to bring labor to us, 1971, it was called the ping pong agreement that they had, where, you know, we can send labor there, and labor at the time was 8 cents to 20 cents an hour, where for us minimum wage was $1.60. Then in 2001, when the Clinton policies helped China join the World Trade Organization, and at the time, minimum wage in China was 20 cents to 50 cents, depending on different regions, and for us was $5.15. We lost 6 million manufacturing jobs, give or take the next 7 years. Michigan, you got Indiana, you got all these other places. Where did those jobs go to? Who did they replace? Who lost those jobs? What happened to Detroit?
All that manufacturing went to China.
That's right. So what do you think these 10 million people that come here, who are they going to take jobs away from? Americans who are here legally. Those jobs are going to go to somebody that's cheap labor.
That was the movement of capital. Capital decided that it was cheaper for them to move to
I'm specifically talking about the last 4 years. So when you're saying labor is not going to be taken from people in America, that's the credibility you lose. That's where people in 2000... Rob, can you play the clip with Stephen A. Smith, who has been a staunch supporter of the Democratic Party for decades, and now Stephen A. Smith is being called as a member of MAGA? You know, Rob, we can't play the whole thing. Can you go to the main part? Do you know the main part or no?
I do. Right after he reads this is when he responds.
Okay, let's see what he says, Rob. Go for it.
Candace Owens, Sean Hannity, and other prominent voices from the right on this podcast as reasons for his premise. Here's a portion of what he wrote on MSNBC.com in an article titled ESPN Stephen A. Smith is a megaphone for MAGA propaganda. Jones says, quote, Stephen A. Smith's embrace of the MAGA movement and its influencers has only continued. In recent days, for example, he has spoken with right-wing commentators Ben Shapiro, Megyn Kelly, and Bill O'Reilly. You might be thinking that these were adversarial chats between a left-leaning centrist and a conservative. But to adroit listeners, they can come across more as conservatives in friendly discussion than anything else. Smith's overt politicism seems to fly in the face of ESPN's apparent effort in recent years to deter some of its talent from speaking on controversial political matters. Either way, the network's most recognizable host is now regularly platforming MAGA propaganda at will, end quote. Now, my team reached out to Jones to have a discussion about the article. I wanted to invite him on the show to talk with me one-on-one personally. I hope we get the opportunity to have that dialogue. He was busy. He didn't avoid the call or anything like that. There was no comment or anything like that. He didn't say anything. He was just very, very busy. What we called it the last minute. No shade on him. That's why it didn't happen. But in the meantime, let me express to you what I think about what he wrote. I think that's the exact problem.
Hey, Mitesh got a wedding date yet?
Left. You see, if I don't agree with you, I must be MAGA. It must be the case. I'm platforming MAGA propaganda. Is that so? I don't view it that way. First of all, even though I lean left, particularly with how I vote with presidential elections, I want to emphasize that I've always been a centrist my entire life. I've never once described myself as a Democrat or a Republican. I'm a centrist. I'm a moderate. I don't trust either side. I'm not on one side or the other, hook, line, or sinker. You will see images or you'll hear me rattle off names of people who've been on this show. Yes, you see Ben Shapiro there. Yes, you see Bill O'Reilly there. Yes, I was recently on Megyn Kelly's show. Did you know I'm on News Nation with Chris Cuomo every week? Did you know that I just appeared with Jake Tapper on CNN?
So this is that's the problem is the corporate media still is doing this thing where they're just like CNN is the left. MSNBC is the left. Like,
do you know I've been on MSNBC on several occasions?
That's actually proven like about the point again about like the billionaires and how well funded the right is.
Do you know?
You can pause.
Yes, Sean.
So, do you know what happens when a guy like Stephen A. Smith? He said he's always voted left when it comes down to presidential candidates that he has. So he's not a guy that voted for Trump, right? When a guy like him comes out and he says, "What the hell is going on with the Democratic Party?"
Is that what he's saying there?
Oh, he said it many. You must not follow what he says because he has said that nonstop the last 2 months, 3 months.
No, I don't follow what he says.
You should. He's actually very good. He's reasonable. It would be good for you to watch. I like his approach. I think he's a.
Do you guys identify as MAGA?
No.
Do any of you guys identify as MAGA?
Here's my question. Can I ask a question?
He seems to think it's an insult.
Yo, that's what I'm saying. Make America great again. It shouldn't be if you want to make America great again, I'm all in. Call me MAGA all freaking day.
I'm MAGA. I'm MAGA. I'm MAGA. I just want to make America great.
He seems to take it as an insult.
No, I am America first. I'm America first. I voted for Trump in 2016. I voted for him 2020. In 2022, when people were leaving to the DeSantis camp, I stayed on the Trump camp. Yep. I've never been off that camp. He's the right guy for America, and I've been a registered independent now for about 17 years.
What do you think about these tariffs?
No, stay on this topic here with Stephen A. We'll go to tariffs next.
We'll go to some guy from I've never heard of from
Stephen A. Smith. I've never heard of Stephen A. Smith.
No, the guy who wrote the
thank God.
something about him.
Yeah, but what do you think about Stephen A.? You know what he's been talking about lately with the Democratic Party having issues.
He's a centrist. I don't have to subscribe to what a centrist perspective. I mean, he's a centrist like Gavin Newsom is a centrist.
Gavin Newsom is a centrist.
Gavin Newsom is saying the exact same thing as Stephen A. Smith.
Because he realizes progressive policies have been a disaster.
Okay, I mean,
it's because
he's a centrist as of a week ago when he realized progressiveness is horrible.
Maybe it's because.
Sam.
Maybe it's like
I just you don't understand. You guys don't seem to understand.
Bizarro world.
I have a set of politics. I don't care what Stephen A. Smith
bad little voice
does. I don't care what Gavin Newsom does.
Yeah.
I don't care.
So you're rigid. You're not changing anything.
It's not a question of I'm rigid and I'm not changing anything. Like there are specifics. Like over time, I have had a different perspective on the deficit. over the past 20 years and understood it in a different way.
But you become more liberal over the last 20 years. You become more of a leftist and progressive.
You got to be more malleable.
I would say
you got to be more malleable,
extent,
buddy.
I mean, to the extent, like, I don't, like, you guys have these, like, labels that you like to use, and there's some
like
type of gradation.
Yeah.
But
Labels.
I've always
like
been,
labels like
I've always been
avoiders.
about where I am in terms of taxation. But I am for a little bit more decommodification probably than I was 20 years ago.
So, and all I'm saying here before we go, look, I'm going to go to the audience. Audience, we're coming to you here in a second to go through some of the stories here.
Why wait? We're going to talk about tariffs?
We're going to talk about whatever stories we go through. But the one thing we did learn here with you is America grew up the last 4 years.
Adam?
Sorry about that.
America grew up the last 4 years. Many Democrats grew up. Every state became more Republican because of the horrible policies on the left, whether it was how they handled COVID, what they did with our kids, how they handled people that didn't want to take the vaccine, and people were fed up. And they voted for a guy who had already been president for 4 years. So it's not like they said they want something new. They said, no, we want to go back to the guy previous to that guy. That is the biggest black eye to Obama, to Kamala, to Democrats, to everybody on the left, when they went back to the guy that they said they didn't want 4 years later saying...
That's so disingenuous in the way that, like, you're not actually paying attention to the way that, like, politics moves from right to left, right to left, right to left. Like, but okay.
It's like an ex coming back and saying, babe, I messed up. I should have never gone with the other guy. You were my guy. Or guy, babe, I screwed up. I should have never left you for the other girl. I'm such a dummy. Please, Trump, come back. That's what America did. And a guy like you, who's
I'm not a big
fan
of Obama's, and I'm not a big fan of Harris's either.
But the point is, you still haven't graduated Sanders. That's like 7th grade. The people that follow Sanders and AOC are in 7th grade, 8th grade. Their heroes are in high school. Your philosophies are popular in high schools, not with adults. The policies that you support are high school
not popular
policies.
when I was in high school.
Oh, are you kidding me? Karl Marx was a hero in kids that went to high school because teachers were feeding the Karl Marx stuff.
I went to high school. Ronald Reagan was president. I can assure you that, and the wall still existed, and there was fear of communism, and that socialism was barely ever expressed.
You're a step away from communism. Like, socialism is a step away from communism. That's kind of where you are. You're right there saying, guys, I don't want to fully publicly say I'm a communist. I'll stay in this room.
No, I'm not.
Because it's like MAGA.
I don't even
wanna say,
identify as a socialist either.
You're a progressive, though.
I would say I'm a progressive.
So
I mean,
what's
90% is
right
socialist.
of progressive? What's left of progressive? I know you're not big on labels, but just humor me. What's right and left of being a progressive?
I'm probably a social democrat. So I would say there is a certain amount of society where I believe we do not need the private market to deliver it, and is less efficient. So when it comes to health insurance, we have already in this country 1/3, maybe a little more actually, on some form of government health insurance. The VA is actually government health care. The doctors work for the government. And that is actually gets very, very high
and
marks.
all I hear is good things about the VA.
The VA
everybody
gets
loves
high
the VA.
marks?
No,
The healthcare does, yeah.
Vinny, you go to the VA.
From
who?
That's 100% false.
From
I
the
get
dead
the
guys.
worst service from the VA. And I'm a veteran and he's a veteran. He doesn't go to the VA. I go to the VA. I called yesterday just to make an example in our work area. I called. Nobody's picking up the phone for me to get an appointment. Zero. And when you go there, it's the most depressing thing.
But the good news is when you go to get your to the DMV, the driver's license, that's great service, right?
That's the best. Yeah, that's the best.
Everyone
No,
loves
the VA, Sam, the VA is not good.
The states run the DMVs,
really
but
liking
my
today's
experience at the
podcast.
DMV is not that bad.
You want to
But
go to
Respectfully,
what's
there's
that?
one thing
go to
you said.
tariffs.
There's one thing you
What's
said.
that?
You
You
said
wanna
the
go to
private
tariffs?
market is less efficient. We can look at 250 years of government and everything we've got here. I just can't get
What's the
past that.
administrative cost for Medicare?
And if that's your,
What's the administrative cost for Medicare?
Hang on. If that's your one of your foundational beliefs that the private markets will be less efficient, then it's no wonder you're where you are. I'm not going to pick on it. If that's your foundational
What
belief,
is the administrative
then
cost for Medicare?
Tell us.
2 to 3 cents of every dollar in Medicare is spent on administrative costs. In the private health
administrative
insurance,
defined as what? You got to be careful. I got to be careful when I hear things like that, because guess what? You go back and you look at, well, I was only counting this.
The rest
I'm not counting this. It's like the same way.
You have a dollar.
Same way your side would count unemployment and come out later and readjust all the stats.
97 to 98 cents actually goes to paying Medicare providers, doctors, we're
going to move on. We're going to move on because your core tenet that the private markets are less efficient is wrong.
17 cents on every dollar.
We can't discuss
because
anything.
They're paying for advertising, they're paying for shareholder value, et cetera, et cetera. So for every dollar you spend, and on top of which, anybody who has...
You can't discuss anything because he keeps bringing up really good points where, again, dude, not once have you guys heard these guys go, oh, all right, that's a good point, or okay, I could see it that way. No, never. They're always in argue mode. And on top of it, the fact that they called themselves centrists and somehow they're trying to play themselves as independents. Guys, just so you know, they're already doing this. When I went to my local elections, I went to my local election website because, full disclosure, guys, I wasn't able to vote. My car broke down, and yeah, it was one of those situations where I was not able to go vote. But I was lucky enough to actually have all my candidates win, so that's yay. Trust me, I'm lucky on that one. I was really upset that I couldn't go.
Private health insurance, who deals with it themselves, knows it's like having a second job just to either get reimbursed.
Hold on, guys. YouTube just froze up.
Or you get to figure out every year when you re-sign up, is my doctor in or out of the program?
Sweet. Is Twitch freezing up at all? Because I'm getting an error code.
It's a mess. It's a disaster.
Medicare is
I thought it was over on Twitch or on YouTube.
And so wonderful. Why was MedSup and Medicare Advantage invented? It's so good, Medicare. It's everything
for you. Republicans wanted to privatize it, and it is
really? I don't get drug
understood
benefits.
that Medicare Advantage is the worst part of Medicare, and people get sucked into it, and they find out that they've been hoodwinked. I mean, these are all easily found data points.
Sam, did you fly here?
Yeah.
Did you go through TSA? Did you go through TSA pre-check? Did you go through Clear? What'd you go through?
On the way here, my TSA pre-check was not on the thing, so I just went.
It's messed up. You paid for it though, right?
Yeah, it was $60 for the TSA.
No, I'm saying, but you pay. I think it was like a $500 or $100 for 5 years for a TSA pre-check.
TSA pre-check, I think, is $65 for 5 years.
That's amazing. It's a great deal. Why don't you do Clear?
I don't want to do a private company.
TSA pre-check is basically like a public-private partnership.
No,
where
TSA
you pay a little bit more.
TSA pre-check is the government.
You pay a little bit more.
Adam,
I'm not going to give my biometrics to Clear.
He looks at private companies and he frowns upon private companies.
Is that what's going on?
Because that's all it is.
Oh, I didn't fully understand.
He said, I'm not going to give my money to a private company.
And
so just so you
meanwhile,
know, and that's just
you own and run one.
Yeah, so let's go to the next story with terrorists.
Can we stay there for a second, please? You don't want to give money to a private company, but you are a private company.
I don't
want to
give my biometric information to a private company.
You're using a
or your dollars.
What about just private companies in general?
I'm happily fine with TSA pre-check.
We already got it. I'm moving.
If you guys enjoyed this content, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. It really helps me out in the algorithm. And also, check out my live streams weekdays from Monday through Friday and special Saturday streams. I really appreciate you guys checking out the content, and I'll see you in the next one.